my talk will be about Vue.js in the cloud. So, just a short introduction about myself. My name is Markus Danek. I'm here front-end developer at IBM CSC since about 2 years. So time is passing, and that's a nice profile picture of me. And I'm also a co-organizer, as you heard, of the Vue.js meetup. And that's my Twitter handle. So I like to like other tweets and retweet, and I will also share this presentation on Twitter. So click on follow, and you're up to date if you want to. Yeah, Robert already asked who is using Vue.js. Would like to ask you to raise your hands once again. So who's using it? Okay, that's good. So the other ones, are you using any other frameworks or completely new to web development, or I don't know? Yes. Yes to all. Okay.
I'm backend developer, and I'm using also for the projects React now, and AngularJS and Angular 2+.
Okay, so really all.
Who is the only thing missing in my
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's just a good question for us because we want to also to prepare our talks to our audience. So yeah, if new people are here who doesn't have any Vue.js Vue.js knowledge, thank you. Yeah, it's easier for us to say, okay, we want to focus more on the general stuff and the beginner stuff, and yeah, that's why I'm asking. And who used already Vue.js, who already deployed those projects on some server? Okay, so most of you. Okay, so this talk is about the magic black box we call cloud. So where you just put in stuff and it magically works. And yeah, it's what we will cover is we will cover different available cloud providers. So there's a lot of services out there. We will see a difference, okay, which one is easier to use, especially for developers. We will also use a local repository and upload it to different services. And I will also give you a tip how you can point your domain via Cloudflare to this service. So you can also have some SSL in the background for free. So yeah, our main character is our own website. So who sees it for the first time? Okay, damn it. So we have to do more marketing and to share it more. So just go to Vue.js-vienna.org. We will also post when the next meetup is happening. And this is also a call for action. So it's not much information on there. So if you have time, if you're I don't know, if you need a new hobby, if you don't want to learn from university, or if you are bored at work, could also happen. Feel free to fork it. You can create a pull request, and there's a lot to do for this website. So I don't know, we just maybe want to show also the videos that are recorded here online. We can also have some kind of direct feedback. So any ideas that you come up is highly appreciated to enhance this website. And yeah, so yeah. And it's also really nice because if you do a pull request, you can finally write in your CV that you're an open source collaborator, which also sounds really fancy. So just a tip from my side. So feel free to play around. And yeah, the first question comes to my mind when I'm starting a new project for work, no, not really for work, but for hobby project is, okay, it's running locally perfectly fine as I'm expecting it, but I want to show it to colleagues, to family, to my grandma and say, hey, it's so awesome, check this out. And there's so many service providers and I have no idea which one I should use. So any cloud hosting names, what comes in your mind? DigitalOcean, yes, that's one. What? Also a good one, yes.
IBM Cloud.
You will get an extra slice of pizza, okay, okay. Who also wants some pizza? Firebase, exactly. Google Cloud. Yeah, so there are really a lot of services online who says, okay, it's the best one and use me as a service provider. And yeah, so I just put some logos on there. So we could, I don't know, spend days with uploading images because every new month some, I don't know, startup is calling himself the best cloud provider whatsoever. And we will focus also on some of those and see in real time now with our demo project how easy it can be to deploy it online. And I can also recommend this one here, of course, that we'll also check out later. Is anybody already using the IBM Cloud? Okay, okay. Could be more, but we can change that. Okay, so let's be honest, there are a lot of logos there and everyone is telling you, okay, use me, I'm the best one. And I personally can't really tell the difference between those. So we could now spend the next, I don't know, 30 or 45 minutes just to go in theory to exactly point out, okay, this one costs this much and this one this much, but it's so flexible and it's high scalability, whatever. But I think that we are all here to hear this boring topic. So we will jump in and try a few cloud providers with the CLIs that they are providing and just see, okay, is it good or not? So yeah, the first one is Search. It's pretty new. I think they're on the market since, I don't know, 1 year. And they're also selling themselves as a static web publishing for front-end developers. So it seems really awesome for us. So they also say, okay, they have a lot of deployments and terabytes of data published. And you can also see if you go on different GitHub projects that a lot of them are using it for their documentation or just their landing page. And they also tell us, okay, npm install globally our search npm package, run search, and that's it. So let's check this out. Yep. Okay, let's mirror it. So we have here our website. That's I can show it to you again. This fancy-looking website, and I already did it. But we do now do search. Okay, shouldn't take that long because I already did it. And we now run search. So you just look. I forgot something. Yeah, sure. Okay. Is this now fine for you?
Yes, thank you.
So yeah, before we want to deploy it, we also want to run build. So I'm using the Vue CLI, and it's important. They're also writing it on their documentation side that you have to run this command in the folder that it's already compiled and stuff like that. So cd dist, that's our place, and run search. So at the first time it will ask you for username and password, and that's it so far. So we can also say, okay, we want to call it like Vue.js Vienna.search.sh. You can type in whatever you want. If it's not taken, we upload it. It says, okay, success. We will check it. I already opened it. It runs, easy peasy. So yeah, there's nothing more to say. So I can really recommend you this one. So what's next? Who heard about Zeit.co.now. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay. They're also selling themselves as the serverless cloud platform, so you can also run your Go scripts, your Lambda functions, whatsoever in there. But we still use it for our static sites now. So basically, you just also install the now package, and then you have a now.json file. And you describe the version. So the version would be version 2 of the API. You can also use version 1, but doesn't really make sense. You also can specify a name, so it will create automatically in the now dashboard platform a new project for you, and also will create the correct subdomain. We can also specify where the build package is located and where our routes are located. So we can also, the documentation is really huge. So we can specify if you want to enable cache or not and whatsoever. So I kept it really simple. And you also have to do a new npm script. So we can also show it. That's our npm script. If you don't add this, it will break. So that's really important. And that's it. So I can show you again the now.json. It's like in a screenshot. And I also created a script name for that. So we just run the building script again and publish it to now. So npm. That's the only difference between search and Zeit now, that we have to run this in the root folder, because if we are in the dist folder, we wouldn't recognize the npm command, obviously. So npm run now. It builds. We might need some elevator music in the background, but I think that it won't take that long. So he's already uploading it. And you also have now a fancy dashboard, and you can see that we just triggered a new deployment. So for more complex applications, it's really useful because you can see all the specific steps he's doing. Also, if some errors are coming up during the deployment, you can see it in real time. So it's really nice, and you can do a lot with it. Also, Zeit.co is offering more services. They have a networking service. I don't know, I have here a little cheat sheet. You can set up domains and specify SSL and config more options for domain and SSL, stuff like that. So yeah, it really makes a cute first look. So in the background, it's still building. Hey ho. And if it's finished, it will automatically refresh the page and shows it to us. So really straightforward. The focus is also on developers. So 5 more seconds and we should see it in production. Okay. That was it. So that was also really easy, I think. So as next topic, we have Amazon S3. Who is using it for static hosting. Sometimes, okay. Okay, so the big advantage of Amazon S3 is obviously if you have a large ecosystem and if you have, I don't know, Docker containers and databases and stuff like that running, it's much easier to integrate all those services into once. So that's maybe a good way, or think why you have to do it. So But it's also really easy if you don't have that huge ecosystem and just want to try it out. So basically, you just log in with your Amazon credentials. You choose S3 service. You can create a bucket. So in this case, we created it with www.Vue.js-Vienna.org. Pretty straightforward. You have not that much possibility to set up. Okay, you can set up that you're automatically creating different versions for each deployment, or I don't know, you want to log some access whatsoever. But the interesting point for us is that you can also specify some static website hosting. So in this case, we just specified that this specific bucket is hosting a website. So we say, okay, the entry point is the index.html. We can also specify that we have error.html. So in this case, it would be, I don't know, 404 or whatever you name it. And that's it, basically. So that's the first setup you have to do before you do any stuff in your Git repository. So I personally can recommend this npm package. So you can see it's getting downloaded a lot of times per week, and it's kind of famous. And so you just install it in your repository, npm install --save s3 -deploy. And we also created an npm script here. So again, we are running a new build. That's one of the things I'm always forgetting. So I'm deploying stuff online and I'm thinking, why the hell doesn't it work? And after 20 minutes, I'm coming to the realization, okay, damn it, I forgot to build it. So that's why it's always in my scripts. I'm a lazy guy also. And basically, we just also specify where our build, our production build is located. The signature version here is important because that was one of the pitfalls I fell in, because if you're hosting, you can choose for the bucket in which region you want to host it. So it can be America, US, they have a lot of different regions to choose, but also Frankfurt, Paris, London, whatsoever. And if you want to host it, which makes sense, in Europe, you have to specify the signature version v4, otherwise it won't work. And then again, we specify the name of the bucket that we previously created. I also installed the AWS CLI tool, so I don't have to type in every time my secret, pass, and whatsoever, so it gets saved on your computer. And that's it. And then we can also run npm run, typo, run s3. And in the background, it's running. I can show it to you. So in the overview, we can see the files that are getting uploaded. It's now running in the background. You can, we set that is a static website hosting. And it's also important to specify that everyone can read this bucket. So by default, the settings are for false. So if you would now go to the link that you're getting, so if you go here, you can see, okay, that's the link directly that we are getting provided from Amazon. You would see that you don't have any access credentials. So that's also a good tip from my side. And what I also did is I created a second bucket, which is just called without the www. And this is because I will also show that to you later on that I set up our domain via Cloudflare. So if anybody enters without www, we specified that he should redirect all the traffic to the correct bucket. But nothing more to set up. And we can see in the background, okay, he's also checking if we are re-uploading. So to save traffic, he checks, okay, is it really new or not? That's kind of helpful because you're paying at Amazon per gigabyte. So, but in my experience, I'm hosting a few websites and it costs me about 2 cents a month. So it's kind of free, and but it's also a nice feature of them. So yeah, we could also go now Vue.js-vienna.org and see it's okay, it's working. Okay, and then we have our IBM Cloud, of course. So yeah, that's also a question of the ecosystem you're using, because we are obviously using a lot, and it also makes sense because we have a lot of microservices running up there, and as I said, it's really easy to connect all those things if they are in the same network and so on. And service provider. And yeah, you have a lot of stuff you can do with the IBM Cloud. It goes from using Watson as an AI system. You can set up your blockchain. Yeah, almost everything. And they're doing it really well. And yeah, I have my badge here. But we are using is the SDK for Node.js. And it's a little bit, yeah? Okay, yeah. So what we will do is you can create a new service, type in the app name, host name, which domain you want to have it at the end. You have to choose organization, stuff like that, to organize all those services, because it can happen that you suddenly have 30 services and you don't know which one is doing that. So if you're doing it really in production, it makes sense to have it separated. And you choose a pricing plan. Once again, it's 0.0526 euros per gigabyte per hour. So yeah, almost free. So there's one tricky thing to do, because IBM Cloud doesn't support yet the service to just host those static files that we need. So we are using the SDK for Node.js, and we have to set up a few things, and I will show it to you once again in the repository. So the first thing you can do is manifest.yaml. That's a file where you can specify the Cloud Foundry service name. So if you run the CLI tool, just say, okay, CF push, you don't have to enter every time the whole name of the application. You can also set up the memory you want to use. So normally 64 megabytes. In this case, we have 128 megabytes, just to be on the safe side for this demo. But it doesn't really need much. So you can also save money on this. And we can also specify a CF ignore. So when we deploy it, we won't deploy or upload the node modules, because yeah, you know, you do an imp and install and you suddenly have 500 packages. You know, you have no idea where they are coming, but you just need them, and it takes a lot of space. So we can save that. And we have here, we created a server.js, and this used, we have to use it because we use the SDK for Node.js, and if we won't do that, he wouldn't know that he has to open the index.html. So we are just pointing every request that is coming to our dist folder to the index.html, and this on the port 88 is so really straightforward. Just install Express and you're good to go. So so we can also now run npm IBM, and it builds again, and then it does our CF push, what I already mentioned in the background. You can see, okay, he's grabbing the manifest.yaml. He already knows, okay, that's the service name that we want to use, disk quote, memory, whatsoever. And you get the logs, what he is doing. And the cool thing is that the Cloud Foundry CLI is also providing a lot of tools, so you can get the latest logs if anything stopped working or if anything broke during the deployment directly in your console. You don't have to go like we have to do in the Zeit.com .co website directly on there and click around, so you have everything in one place. And if you now would go to our application, you can see that it's running. You can also scale it up. That's also one easy feature from the IBM Cloud. So if you can see, okay, you have a lot of requests, click the plus button, and that's it. So there's our slide. So also pretty straightforward. And what I did for our website is, because I bought it, for example, on namecheat.com, it's really easy and doesn't cost much. And you can set up Cloudflare to point, for example, we are hosting the website on Amazon S3, set it as a CNAME. So if we now type in www, it would point to our alias, and that would also point to our website, and that's one of the easiest ways to also provide SSL for free without any setup to yourself and your colleagues or whoever is using this application. Okay, if I will share this presentation also on Twitter as I mentioned. And if you have any further questions, I can recommend the documentation of Vue.js CLI. So you have a step-by-step tool about every common cloud service. So it also tells you how you do a deployment on GitHub pages, which is possible, and Heroku, what we already heard, and stuff like that. So generally, the Vue.js documentation is really good, on point, and yeah. So that's it so far. Thanks.